are on.
Lord.
Okay, so let's jump right in. We're
Sure.
doing the Law of Attraction book study.
Law of Attraction book study from the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne.
That's right. And this chapter has a special significance because my friend here, well, both him and I, we want to figure out the money part. How do you make the money? What's the way? So,
Additionally, yeah, we're going to dive into. So this chapter is called The Secret to Money, and it's just going to, as I've read, so it's just going to apply the law of attraction to manifesting money. Whereas in other, yeah, so I'll start off with, they've got a couple quotes in the beginning that really just kind of set the tone.
okay.
And they're usually very simple because this whole thing is very simple.
Mm.
The first quote is from W. Clement Stone. It says, "Whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve."
Mm.
Simple. Simple.
Mm.
What do you think? We'll stop there. We'll let that marinate. Whatever the mind can achieve, or whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve.
So let's think about conception. What's conception?
Conception sounds like that's a word that we might need to look up. But what is conception to you?
Well, conception is like when you conceive, what can be conceived like a baby, right?
Okay.
So when you're banging your girl, you're conceiving. If the seed gets to the egg, then it conceives something. But first, the seed has to get to the egg. Because you could be making love, or you could be, and then the seed never gets to the egg, and it never fertilizes the egg for conception to happen.
So it sounds like conception is planting a seed. Like conception is planting.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're planting an idea in your mind,
Mm.
and it will blossom.
Mm.
As in your analogy, planting a seed in your partner will conceive into another child, a human. It looks like the start to the secret of money is, planting that idea in your head of whatever objective or whatever goal amount that you intend to bring forth to you. You must first plant that
seed.
Plant that seed.
That's what we're doing right here. We're planting the seed.
Planting the seed towards prosperity and abundance.
Lil Wayne says,
money.
"Fuck the world, feed it beans."
Don't know about that one. Though planting the seed towards wealth and abundance, whereas wealth, would you say wealth and abundance are? How do you relate those?
Wealth and abundance.
How would you plant the seed of wealth and abundance in your mind?
Well, John Templeton says that the secret to wealth is gratitude.
Okay.
So back to gratitude. Gratitude. It's not working.
Gratitude tokens. A reminder for gratitude every day.
So the light is too bright.
Reminder to be thankful,
Very good.
gracious, and grateful.
Gratitude token.
Okay.
So, if you're grateful for what you have, which I think it literally means that if you like what you have, if you learn to like what you have, so now you learn to like what you have, and now you like what you have, no matter what it is, if you learn to like it, you learn to like whatever you have.
We can skip the learn part and just call it, we like what we have.
We like what we have.
To make it much more simple.
Right. So then it becomes like, if you don't like what you have right now, you probably won't like what you have when you become wealthy. Like, yes, it would be more convenient to live life, but you probably won't like your life, and you'll always be in a long period of discontent because you learn to be ungrateful. So if you learn to be ungrateful with small things, then you will be ungrateful even if you have a lot. So
okay.
That's why I think the secret to wealth is because, like, even if you have a lot, if you're ungrateful, you'll always feel like you don't have anything.
So to go on the topic of like planting the seed of wealth rather than being ungrateful, the main thing is to be grateful for what you have, is what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a little gratitude, and then
planting seed of wealth and abundance using gratitude.
Using gratitude, yeah. Yeah, I think you need to have, because I think wealthy people become wealthy through gratitude, but then I think along the way, they might lose that gratitude because they become afraid to lose what they have. So they become ungrateful and bitter and scared that they might lose their fortune. So then that's when wealthy people become like not the nicest people, not the most grateful people.
So how would you focus that towards the grateful side of those wealthy people? So the thing I like to do is it's easy to look at the not of what we want, though if we remember focus, to focus on what we do want rather than the anti of that. I feel like the best way to focus is to focus on the wealth, the what we do want. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like in this instance, we're basically conceiving wealth. We're conceiving abundance, and with that being our focus is with our focus being conceiving wealth, we focus on the do's of conceiving wealth rather than the don'ts. There is a time and place for it to focus on the don'ts of conceiving wealth, though in this time and time period, we're focusing on whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve. Because if we conceive the thoughts of ungrateful wealthy people and ungrateful examples and the lack of it, we are going to, one would conceive the lack. So just to, tie it, just to hold us down on the focus of conceiving wealth, let's, within these, 10 minutes we got, let's focus on the conception of wealth and the good habits and the abundance. Excuse me.
Good habits and abundance. Okay, so did you read this part already or no? Oh, okay. So Jack Canfield says the secret was a real transformation for me because I grew up with a very negative father who thought that rich people were people that had ripped everyone off and thought that anyone that had money must have deceived somebody. So I grew up with a lot of beliefs about money that if you had it, it made you bad. Only evil people have money, and money doesn't grow on trees. Who do you think I am, Rockefeller? That was one of his favorite phrases. So I grew up truly believing that life was difficult. It was only when I met W. Clement Stone that I began to shift my life. And then the phrase again, whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve.
Okay. So I'll stop right there as well. So he had those limiting thoughts before until he met Mr. Clement Stone, who gave him the phrase, whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve. And in these moments, the topic of this one is the secret to money. And the next thing it says is Clement Stone. So when he was working with Clement Stone, he said, I want you to set a goal that is so big that if you achieved it, and I'll paraphrase, that when you achieve it, you would know, it would blow your mind, figuratively, and you would know it's only because of what I've taught you that you would have achieved this goal. So basically he's telling him, I want you to set a goal so big that when you achieve it, you'll know that the process that brought your goal to fruition was none other than the creative process, which again is the law of attraction, the secret we're talking about here, which isn't necessarily a secret anymore. It's just, it's pretty simple. It's the law of attraction, conceiving these thoughts to perceive them in real life or to perceive them with your eyes. So at the time, they were making $8,000 a year. They wanted to make $100,000 in a year. They had no idea how they could do it. They had no strategy and thought no possibility. Though they just said, I'm going to declare that, I'm going to believe it, and I'm going to act as if it is true and release it. So they did.
I remember the story from the movie. He was talking about how he was a teacher and he'd only made like $15K a year or something like that. And then he said that he made a list of the thing. Well, he created the blank check, like Jim Carrey. He created a blank check for 100,000, and then him and his team came up with a list of things that they can do, so that they can earn that $100,000 from the sales of the book. So one of the things that was on the list, I did a list of about 100 things. One of the things that they wrote on the list was to send it to the O.J. Simpson trials for the jury and the people at the jury. So they sent it to them, and then the people at the jury started raving about the book, and then that's how their sales went up, and that's how they made. The first year he made 92,000 from book sales, but it first came from the check. Then they made the list, and one of the things on the list, they just did that thing on the list, and they tried it, and then the money came.
I like that. So I'll ask you. So say, so let's declare our wealth, and once we declare our wealth, we believe it. So right now, I'm declaring wealth. I'm declaring that I am wealthy. I am abundant in my finances. See,
See, see.
do you want to declare some wealth?
I declare that money flows easily and passively to my life in avalanches of abundance.
Declare.
Declare.
So within that, we believe these things. I believe everything I just said. I believe in the wealth that I've declared. I know you believe. Do you believe in the wealth you just declared for yourself?
Have faith in my declaration.
Yeah. Okay. And so now, as we learned yesterday, the third process or the third step is to act. One of the steps is to ask, believe, and act. So now, how would you act knowing that your wealth is true? How would you act knowing that those avalanches of wealth are true for you?
Act accordingly.
What does accordingly look like when you have avalanches of wealth?
Accordingly means in tune with the frequency of the wealth.
Okay. Say that again.
In tune with the frequency of the wealth.
So we're going to act accordingly, in tune with the frequency of wealth. And when on the frequency of wealth, what are some actions? What are some habits? What are some
visualization and future projection? So,
well, what are some actionable, like, what are some,
that's
like,
all you need.
What I'm asking is, what are action, like, I'm wealthy. Am I waking up to go to the gym? Am I waking up to, what are my actions? What do your actions look like when you are wealthy?
See, I'm already doing that part. Going to the gym and like stretching and getting my mind right.
Okay.
So for me, the next step is visualization and future projection. I have to work on my visualization now. So if you're already doing healthy things, going to the gym, eating right, which I just implemented that routine in my life, the next step for me is to do visualization and future projection. And talking with my acting teacher this morning, we were talking about like how we can visualize how an actor visualizes the scenery even while they're not, like, the people are not there, the trophy's not there, the ring is not there. Let's say if it's a boxer, the crowd's not there, but you're visualizing all the moment and you're moving as if those things are there. So another example, the Olympic athletes in the U.S. Olympic team, they rehearse. We were talking about yesterday, or they rehearse their dive 1,000 times in their mind. And as to the example you gave with the study where the basketball players that only imagine making the free throws did just as well as the athletes that were practicing free throws in the court. Just like that, we must future project and visualize the moves that we're making and having the wealth in our hands. We have to get better at imagination and visualization of the outcome that is ideal for us and declare that it's going to happen and feel grateful for that future and see it and believe it and have faith that it will come to fruition. And this is the seed right here. And then we just have to, the actions, I think, is we need to nurture and feed and take care of the plant as it grows into this beautiful tree.
I like all of that. Another question for you. What are the characteristics and personality, maybe not necessarily personality, though, what are characteristics of a wealthy person? How do they make decisions? How are their relationships? How is their communication in the relationships?
I think Brian Tracy studied wealthy people, and he says that successful people think and talk about what they want most of the time. So they talk about what they want and then talk about how to get it. It's all they talk about and think about.
He said that's all they talk about.
That's all they talk about and think about. Think about any successful person. They're basically telling you what they're gonna do before they do it, and then when you see them do it, they're like, "What?" And then they're like, "I told you, like I told you I was gonna do this," and they talk about it very, very, very matter of factly, like this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do it because of this, 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 and then before you know it, they've done it. I think that's how wealthy people and successful people talk, and that's how they achieve what they want. Is because they talk about it, and then they meet with people, they connect with people who are aligned because they're attracting those people to their life because they're declaring each and every day what they're doing. So I'm doing this, like I'm doing this podcast, whether anybody's here or not. I'll be here. If anybody wants to show up, they can show up. If not, they don't have to. I'm gonna figure this out, and the people aligned with my path are gonna be there, and the people who are not aligned with the path, they might come and go. So that's kind of the decision you have to make. Where I love you, you're good, to your family, to your friends, to your colleagues. I love you, but I'm gonna, or not but and I'm gonna pursue this, and I'm gonna do this whether you're there for me or not. Like this is what I just set forth, and I'm gonna go out and do this.
Yeah, they are very a matter of fact. I know a couple. I know a couple wealthy friends who say they are going to do something, and then next time I see them, they've done it.
They've done it.
And they're on to the next.
They're on to the next thing.
It was successful, and their endeavors continue to be successful. So
that's right. They don't stop. Andrew Tate says, money likes speed. So if you move fast in business, then you'll have money. However, there's some people that I know who move slow and have money. So I think it's not about the speed. I mean, you could be a rabbit, you could be a turtle, but as long as the goal is the same, then you'll both get there. Maybe a little slower. It could take me a year to make 100,000, and it could take somebody else 1 month. It could take somebody a day. Warren Buffett or someone like that. He probably makes $100,000 in a day, or in an hour, even.
Yes.
So, and I think that as you become more agile in your manifestation, you become better at manifesting things. Because you were telling me yesterday, maybe we do have all the things we want. Maybe we do have all the tools, but that don't mean they're polished. You know what I'm saying? Arthur Schopenhauer said, if I had 4 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 3 hours sharpening the axe, 1 hour chopping the tree down. So we might be hitting the tree with a dull axe, and that's why the tree's not going down. So even if we have all the tools and all the resources, but our tools are dull, we're not going to get the results that we were hoping for. We need to sharpen our tools, sharpen that katana. Arigato, senpai!
What's that?
Just some random Japanese.
What's it mean?
I think it means thank you. Like, thank you, underling. Like, the sensei would say, it's a sensei and senpai. Like, senpai is student, sensei is teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think they're about to kick us out in a little bit, so how do we end this?
We're going to end it with this. So this is an affirmation, and it is so amazing. And once you say it, you'll feel it. Alrighty. So before I read it, I just want to touch back on the action of wealth as we call forth wealth and abundance, wealth in finance, wealth in health, wealth in love, wealth in relationships, and in this chapter, wealth in money. So looking at wealth and money in this particular chapter, a couple of things that it said so far is the action. Act as if it's already true. Act and know that it is true. So get yourself in the mind state of being wealthy. How would you act? Are you planning more wealthy endeavors? Are you relaxed and at peace? Are you around more wealthy people? Are you in wealthy environments? What does wealth look like for you? What does your life look like surrounded in wealth? What do you look like surrounded in a wealthy frequency? And before I read the quote, I'll read at the end of every chapter, it summarizes the key points to that chapter. And let's see. All right. So I'll read these just to have them spoken, and we can marinate on these later. So the secret summary is to attracting money. The secret to money. To attract money, focus on wealth. It is impossible to bring more money into your life when you focus on the lack of it. So again, to attract money, focus on wealth. 2, it is helpful to use your imagination and make believe you already have the money you want. Playing games of having wealth, and you will feel better about money. As you feel better about it, more will flow into your life. So get on that feeling of having money, make believe as you already have it. Play games as you have it, and more will come to you. Just as we imagined we were a chef or a fireman when we were younger. Same way we could play those games, we play the game of wealth. 3, feeling happy now is the fastest way to bring money into your life. Simple. Feel happy now. Make it your intention to look at everything you like and say to yourself, I can afford that. I can buy that. But you got to say it with more gumption, like, I can buy that. Oh, yes, I can definitely afford that. Yes, I can buy that. I can afford that. You will shift your thinking and begin to feel better about money, which, yeah, you will. So, like, when you go to the grocery store and things are inflated, you should be like, oh, I can afford all this. I can afford that. I can afford that. Oh, it's what? Oh, I can definitely afford that. Don't even think that you can't. Just straight up, the only thought you're thinking when you read a price is, yeah, I can buy that. It's perfect. Oh, this turkey looks good. How much is it? Oh, yeah, I can definitely afford that. Don't even worry about the number. You can afford it. This one we'll have to come back to because it's something I want to dive into later. Give money in order to bring more of it into your life. When you are generous with money and feel good about sharing it, you are saying, I have plenty. So it's like you get a car, you get a car. And another thing that I've expounded on is it's generating outcome to generate income. And you can put a value on an abundance of things. You can get creative and look at the things that you have. And although they might not be physical dollar bills, you can put a value on them. And say you have an abundance of film photographs. You can give those away. That's outcome. And you, knowing the worth and the value of those photographs, puts an amount on it. So instead of you only giving away photographs, you're actually giving away wealth, because these photographs also represent wealth in your mind, because you know, oh, these photographs are of quality. I filmed it with this camera and this film, so off top, it's worth this amount of money, and a particular artist shot them, or this particular artist photographed them, so it's definitely worth this amount of money. And I'm giving these away, or I'm selling these, but in this sense, it's giving away. So I'm giving these away, essentially generating outcome. In turn, you'll receive that same and more back in income. So I'll just say that for now, because that's a good one. We can go back on later. Another one is visualize checks in the mail. When you get a bill, visualize it as a check rather than a bill. And tip the balance of your thoughts to wealth. Think wealth. And I'll end it with this, and then I'll let you close out as well. You got anything to say? So this is a great affirmation. So let's go. I am the heir to the kingdom. Prosperity is my birthright, and I hold the key to more abundance in every area of my life than I can possibly imagine. I deserve every good thing I want, and the universe gives me every good thing I want. All I have to do is summon it into my life. Now that I know the secret, I have the key. The key is my thoughts and feelings, and I've been holding the key in my hand all my life.
We had this phrase in network marketing, and it goes like, I want to be able to go to a restaurant and not look at the right side of the menu. So basically, you can just order anything and not even worry about what the price is, because it's not even going to hurt you. It's not even going to cause a dent in your bank account, in your wallet. Visualize checks in the mail. I mean, that's self-explanatory. Just visualize checks in the mail. We're talking about visualization earlier. If we can just imagine that your mailbox, and then having checks in the mailbox, and then you could put a number on the checks. Let's say $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 checks in the mail, multiple per week, per month, per day. Then I think that's that's a good visualization to start with. I think that's a basic, easy one to do. I can look at it right now. I can see a mailbox and I can see checks inside for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 inside with my name on it and my bank account number and checks in the mail. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000,
600,000 on mine.
600,000. That's it. And I think, yeah, those are great affirmations. But yeah, so we'll catch you in the next episode.
Yes, indeed. Anything the mind can conceive,